any questions about our presentation, let us know and we'll give us our best answer.
Yeah, I'll go first, Sean here. Good job with the presentation, guys. My question is a high level one. Can you describe the key value proposition that your application presents to, let's go with, I know you had 3 audiences there, but let's go with to a user.
So we have many users. This would be, would you like us to talk about a bank, a financial institution, or a retailer?
Oh, sorry, I meant a retailer. Yeah.
Yep. So retailers that participate in our program would get free data analytics. That means whenever users, so customers and customers make a transaction, they'd be able to collect all this information. And we all know how important data is in our modern world. So providing our service to collect information would be an invaluable asset. On top of this, we also provide a platform for democratization, which of course allows more business to come through with people's converting points from other businesses and overall expanding the ecosystem and the available customer base.
Okay, thanks.
Could you talk a little bit about the tiering? I know that you didn't go through it in the prototype, but the concept behind it?
So basically the way the tiers work is that when a business joins the program, they're at a lower tier, but they can increase their status on the open source website approach, so they can go from a lower tier to a higher tier, which will increase the point status that they give. So for a certain amount of points spent, you would have to spend less money at that business to get the same amount of points. And the higher tier of a business you go, the more points you get per dollar spent.
Is this something they pay for or something they achieve through usage?
We haven't decided that yet.
Yeah, most of our prototype is based on the software backend and the more technical side of it. We haven't hammered out all the business aspects.
Okay, thank you.
Have you thought of a plan to attract businesses to your platform at this point?
We've had a few ideas. One of our original concepts was to be a proactive system where financial institutions would send out invitations. Although in one of our interviews with a BMO employee, he advised us that this wouldn't be the best idea based on the Canadian anti-spam legislation. If we were to send unsolicited invitations to a point system, this could be in violation of those regulations. So currently we don't have any, we have a few small plans, like we had a page on our prototype website that represented inviting partners, but we don't have anything in depth, which represents how to invite partners to our system.
Okay, thanks.
Do we have another judge on the call? Or is it just the 3 of us?
I think it's just the 3 of us.
Yeah. So we can go ahead with the next team judges.
Oh, wait, we have to go do our ratings first.
Yeah. So once that's done, so we'll keep the next presentation ready until then.
Okay, thank you, Team 10.
Thanks for listening.
So judges, you have to go over to your matrix and score the score Team 10.
Okay.
So team 15, can you share your screen?
Sure. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay,
we can hear
great.
you.
So, hello, welcome everyone to our presentation. We are Group 15. Today we will talk about our design on democratizing the royalty reward points. So our team have found that there's no existing way for royalty reward points to transfer between each other, and small business are usually excluded from the market, and there's no such platform to allow them to connect with each other. And all this leads to our solution. So all the banks, financial institutions, and business, whether they are big or small, they can collaborate with each other and benefit from it. And as customers, they can also benefit from redeeming point in a easier fashion. So our design focus on the functionality of our design and the application on democratizing the points. The versatility in implementations are also important. For the prototype, we first focus on designing an app to allow point transfers through Power App, and then we build a website that allows the collaboration between business. Here we will show a few demonstrations. First is our app. So here we can see the normal login page, and then we can design an account. Just type in a username and password. Then we can see it's successfully created, and then we log in to our account. We can see the balance and login days. The more days the user use this app, the faster they can redeem the points. And then we can transfer the points to other user. So you just need the recipient's name and the amount to transfer. And then we can see the transfer is success and the balance got updated. And then here comes to our website that designed for business collaboration. So here is our homepage of the website. You can see many functions. So first, we will go to the login, so we can use the website. And then we can go to the advertisement page, which all the business can put up their offer for exchange, for point exchange. So they can exchange the points for products, for service, or just build direct partnership. So we just go into one of them, we can see Bank One is offering a partnership. And if you are interested, you can put comment, you can view the information and do a contact later on. And there's a category section which you can keep your business a tag that shows your uniqueness or your business range. And then here is the business side account. You can show all your contact information here so others can contact with you. And this is the end of our presentation, and we would like to take any questions.
Okay, I'll start it off again. Again, good presentation, team. Well done, very clear. Can you talk about any research that you did to come up with the solution?
Yeah, so we first done a lot of benchmarking on existing loyalty reward points program like the Scotiabank one, the Sing one, and the Air Miles, those things. So we found that they cannot change points, like you cannot change Sing point to Air Miles, something like that. So what we are trying to do is to build something that allow this happen, but not in our end, but let the business communicate with each other and come up with a good agreement to do that, to allow the point transformation. And for designing the app, we also do a lot of research on how to make it work. because none of our team member have software design experience before. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So if I understand correctly, on the app, the mobile app, you can transfer points between users. How do you define democratizing the points system?
So first, I guess we went to a wrong direction at the beginning because we think like democratizing points is between users, but later on we realized it's better to allow these points can flow fluently between business. So that's why we come up with the website later on. So the app you got updated if the business come up with an agreement that they said, okay, we can allow point transfer between us. So we will update it in the app, say add an extra account, say Sing point is now can be transferred to Earmouse, something like this.
And what happened within your team, or what did you learn that caused that shift in thinking?
Well, we did some meetings, group meetings, and we realized if we just focus on the user end, it's not what Yafins want, because that's what they told me. Don't focus too much on the front end, but more in the back end. So when we talk about back end, we think about this, even though it's not really relevant.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Jadi, did you have a question, or I can ask one more?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. You mentioned in your presentation, right at the very beginning, you said that the SMB is like, there it is. They're not usually included in these kind of partnerships. And I was initially thinking that because you said that, you were going to focus the rest of your solution on SMBs, but you didn't. Can you talk about why why you didn't follow that path?
Well, it's kind of a general approach for that, because we decide this business corner, like every business can create an account here. While they need to get approved by someone, the designer or the bank who run the website. So they can create an account here. They can communicate with each other. They say, I am a local pizza store and I want to have a royalty reward points. But because I am a small business, I don't have that many resource to start this program. So I can communicate with a bigger one and then ask them if they want to partner up, and then come up with the reward point system. So this is all the connections happen inside the website. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So we'll go ahead with the next group, judges. Okay, so A9, could you be ready with your presentation?
Yes. Do you see my screen?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the group 9 presenting the MyPoints loyalty program. The problem with the current loyalty program is that they're institution specific, example, PC Optimum Air Miles. Also, in the current scenario, it is difficult for small businesses to participate in the loyalty programs. The basic user requirements Zafin required are more engagement with consumers, participation of small businesses, transparency between consumer, banks, and businesses, and frictionless user experience. Our solution includes two main points. Firstly, the participation of small businesses using our own point system, MyPoints, as well as connecting existing point systems. Secondly, our system has a fully connected and operating front and back end.
Now for the demonstration. This is our user interface. So this is a login page where you log in with your username and your password. This brings you to the balance screen where you see the balance of all your points and your point system, MyPoints. The first feature we have is convert points. This allows you to convert points from different point systems. So here, I want to convert some air miles to some MyPoints. So I'll convert 20 air miles and it's going to convert to 242 MyPoints. Converting was successful and you see the point balance is updated. The next feature we have is mock transactions. Mock transactions is like going to the store and physically paying. So let's say I'm going to Metro and I'm paying $50. The point system is air miles and I want to pay it all in points. I could put $50. It would cost me 414 points. I don't have 414 points in my account. So when I try, it's going to inform me of this. But I do have enough, let's say, to pay $5 of it in points, and it's going to cost me 42 points, and I'm going to earn points on the rest of the transaction I pay in cash. Was successful, and I see the updated balance. You're also able to see a transaction history. This allows you to see all your recent transactions. Here we see the one I just made. The next feature is the send points. This allows you to send points to friends. So let's say here I want to send some of my point system from MyPoints. I want to send 50 points to my friend Bhavya and my team. I send the points and my point balance is updated. This is all for the demonstration. Back to the presentation.
Transactions generated in the app are then presented to banks and businesses as graphical data. This feature is fully functional and allows businesses to see updated, filtered information on customer trends. Thank you so much for listening. I'll open the floor to any questions.
So I'm going to ask a really crazy question, and I might have missed it, but did you explore the ability to, in a true democratized model, convert, say, air mile points to subway points?
Yes, it's fully functional. I'll show you.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I missed that.
So here I can convert points. Let's say, what points did you want?
It doesn't matter, just like anything to anything.
I'll convert some of my points to subway tokens. So I have like 390 of my points. I'll convert 30 of those points to subway tokens. Coincidentally, they have the same value. So it's a 30 to 30 point exchange. I do the exchange. Conversion was successful. And I see my points balance change. I have 30 more subway tokens now. And it removed my other points.
Gotcha, thanks. And so did you think about how that value conversion would be derived?
It's from the buying power the point has.
Which comes from?
From like in Subway, 1 point I think is worth 2 cents. So let's say you got 100 points, it's $2. You're able to get $2 off.
Yeah, we did the benchmarking for it.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, where does that value calculation, how does that happen, right? There's, is there a run on air miles, and all of a sudden the value of air miles is a lot higher than it is historically? Like, is there almost like a trading mechanism behind this that determines, hey, people seem to be collecting air miles, so people will gladly trade 10,000 optimum points for 100 air miles.
The point values are easy to adjust. However, as we don't have as much experience in the business world, it would be, we would have to get advice from our clients, and then we can easily adjust the value of the points.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't think it's like the stock market in that the points have an inherent value, probably as well as a relative value. So this Power Apps, can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges in terms of being able to create this functionality?
So I was unfamiliar with Power Apps, and I'm the one who mostly made the front end. And it is a definite learning curve. And when something goes wrong in Power Apps, you're never sure what function is not correct. But
okay.
I took the time to learn it, and it turned out pretty well.
And having learned what you learned, would you have done anything differently in terms of how you architected the solution or present the front end based on what's in the back end?
I think we structured it pretty well. From the beginning, we made our SharePoint. This is all connected to SharePoint, which is then connected to the Power BI for the collection of the data. And we structured it pretty well so that we didn't have to change much going in the different prototypes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very well done. I like the prototype. It works really well. By the sounds of it, you pretty much built it out almost thoroughly. Same question. I was just wondering, how far did you guys get in terms of attracting partners to your solution? And I don't know if you mentioned this, but I'm just wondering, where do you stand on that?
We didn't focus on it too much. The mock businesses that we created, we just incorporated into the system. However, we would probably be focusing on Zafin's partners and kind of offer this additional feature on top of what they already offer. And then hopefully be able to attract other financial institutions and businesses that way. However, it wasn't the main focus of what we were building.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. Thanks, Team
Thank you so
A9.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
So A18,
Hello.
yeah.
All right.
Good.
Just sharing my screen. Can you guys see that all right?
Yes.
All right. Am I good to start? Yeah. All right. All right. Hello, my name is Craig, and I'm from Diamond Loyalty Points, and today I'm going to show you what we've been working on. So before we get started here, I want to talk about loyalty points in general and some of the problems they have. Loyalty points right now are very inconvenient as there's too many of them, and it's so hard to keep track of all your points and use them effectively. Loyalty points are also completely dominated by large businesses, and the little guys really don't have much of a chance to compete. Excuse me. Also, loyalty points are all completely independent of one another. So if you have no interest in one particular point, it has no value to you. To fix this, what we did is we create a platform where users are able to buy and sell loyalty points in a way to sort of help defeat some of these challenges. The way this works is we have businesses, banks, and users who all play a key role in our platform. Our businesses add points to the site at a fixed value. Our banks sort of run the outside of it and allow users to join on, and the users themselves get to buy and sell their points to utilize them to their full potential. Now I'm going to show you a quick tour of the website we've created. So as you can see here, we have our login screen. This is just where a user can simply input or a bank can use to log in. We have our participating companies page that would show all the businesses associated and a contact us page. if anything was going on. Excuse me. We have our trading page here, which is really important. I'm going to touch back on that in a few moments here, as well as our surveys page, which I'm also going to touch on briefly. Lastly, we have our deals page, and this will have our, that would be where businesses could showcase any deals that are currently going on the website. There we go. So now I'm going to showcase the buying and selling. So if we click on the trade feature here, you can see that we come to this page, and it has a points wallet at the top. This allows for users to see how many points they're holding and the value of these particular points. There's also a cash wallet as well as the holding value. Now, if a user would like to buy or sell their points, they simply choose which transaction they would like to make, and then the quantity of points they'd like to transact. Assuming they have the proper quantities of cash and points, they can complete the transaction with no problems. Now, moving on, I'm going to talk about our surveys page. This page is where users are able to earn additional loyalty points by completing surveys for banks or businesses. They simply input their name and their email, and then fill out some simple questions for their business. After they complete this, they'll receive a token, which they can later redeem for loyalty points. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the bank backend. So in that login page from earlier, if a bank was to log in, they're going to see something slightly different than what the users would see. They would get this whole backend of the website that shows user data and statistics, which is part of the incentive to get the banks involved in the program. Now, this is all we have to show. So I want to thank you very much for listening, and now open up the floor to any questions you guys might have.
Where did you get the notion of being able to buy and sell points?
Well, originally we had come up with a bunch of different ideas, and we had sort of pitched them to Zafin. And one of the ideas was sort of making like a stock market that would initially have a changing value. But after we sort of looked through and thought about the logistics, we sort of thought it might make more sense to have a fixed value, because rewards are always like a fixed rate, right? So if I want to get let's say a Subway cookie, right, using my Subway points, it's always going to be the same amount of points for that cookie. That's not going to change. So we figured we would have a fixed value for that. Does that make sense?
It does. So the valuation of the points absolutely makes sense. But other groups, they had a different approach to the democratization, such as being able to trade points between users or transfer points between companies. And so your approach is different still in terms of being able to spend cash to buy and sell points.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering about those different sets of user requirements and the research that got you to that as a design solution compared to some of the other ideas.
Yeah, so I think the reason we sort of did that was one, sort of like the emotional side, right? So if you're kind of buying or selling, right, it feels like these points have a lot more value, and to help kind of keep the users engaged and wanting to spend them. From another aspect, it was kind of a little gray on the terms of service, but it seemed like you couldn't directly convert from one to another. So we thought sort of having the cash in between would sort of help us along that path. So that was sort of our thought process of having the buying and selling.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Yeah, your approach as a marketplace for loyalty point is interesting. Do you think you're going to have issues with some of these owners of these loyalty programs kind of not accepting the fact that you're maybe devaluating or taking away from their loyal customers?
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. Yeah, so that, like, some might say, why should we sign up for this, right? If people are just going to take our loyalty points and spend them elsewhere. But we figured that the way it would sort of work is that there's going to be interests for every business, right? So, people might be earning points at a place and not spending them there, and instead spending them at your competitor, where it might be a benefit for you. Or in the flip side, right? If somebody ends up getting a lot of points at your place and they spend them at your place, they're likely not just going to spend money with points. They're probably going to spend more money while they're at your store. So we figured that sort of the trade-off, where sometimes you might not get points spent, or sometimes you might get more spend and more sales, would sort of be worth it for most businesses.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting.
they're-
There's a whole economic theory, or depending on your economic school of thought, there's a whole market forces conversation that could be had around whether this keeps the keeps the big guys under control, and or kind of how that dynamic works. It's a really interesting area. I have a completely different question. What made you think of the surveys?
Yeah, so the surveys was kind of an idea where, right now, if you want to earn loyalty points, pretty much the only way to do it is just to spend money. And obviously, that's really valuable to businesses, but data is also very valuable today, right? It's a huge market. And so we figured that offering, a small amount of points just for basically free data for these companies might be really valuable to them. And it would be worth their while to give out some points for it. So that was kind of our thought process.
Awesome. Yeah. Good job, guys. Great presentation.
Thank you. Is there any other questions, or is that it? All right, guess that's it.
We're good.
Thanks, Team 18. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes, judges, so that you can evaluate them. So by that time, Team A7, could you be ready with the presentation?
Yeah, we're going to be ready for our presentation. You want to start now, or do you want us to wait a little bit?
Yeah, you can at least share your screen.
I think Craig's still sharing his, so you might want to stop sharing his screen. Let me see.
So sorry.
That's all. No worries.
How do I? Oh, there you go.
All right, let me try sharing mine again. It's all good now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, we'll get started. So hello, everyone. It's a pleasure having all the judges here. So thank you so much for coming. My name is Sean Sang. I'll be presenting to you our project is named Loyalty Plus. First, I'd like to introduce our team. Today, Brian and I will be presenting on behalf of our team, as some of them couldn't have made it today. Next, I'd like to pose some questions. So have you ever experienced a time where you had too many loyalty points to manage? Or have you had a time where you have too many loyalty rewards points and not incentive to spend your loyalty points on rewards? We also wanted to ask a question do you want to incentivize smaller businesses to join the loyalty rewards economy? In saying this, we have a solution for all of that, which is Loyalty Plus. We would like to come here and show our user interface first, or the main two pages of our user interface. So the first two functions are the transfer points page. So in the transfers page, we have area where loyalty points can be transferred from one program to another in the easy way. So all businesses in our thing who register to our loyalty program could exchange all point values based on a conversion factor that we researched extensively. Additionally, we have a rewards page. So we have all the rewards in one area, so the user could easily identify what they want and pick and choose based on their interests. So you may ask, why should you be invested in Loyalty Plus? First of all, for everyone, we have a simple user interface that will allow us to help anyone with tutorials as well as settings as anything through videos in our app to show how to use anything. So the youth or the old could use our program. Additionally, we have a way to exchange loyalty points from one program to another as an ease and a smooth way for businesses and users to exchange loyalty points. We have rewards in one place, which incentivizes all our users to spend their valuable loyalty points that they've earned over time. And finally, we can help smaller businesses grow by incorporating them into our loyalty program, giving them their own loyalty points through intensive research into their business and incorporate them into the bigger businesses ecosystem. Finally, I'll pass it on to Brian for the demo. So
can you see my screen? Okay, so first of all, with our application, we are able to register points. So we can put in a new loyalty program. For example, here we'll call it test. And then for our application, we need a conversion factor to be able to convert the test points to a different program. So let's say the conversion factor is 3. So we will submit this program, this reward program, and then we can go back to the home page. And now if we go to my account page, we can see that the test is now one of the reward programs, but we still have no points. We can fix that by transferring points from one of our existing programs. So we'll choose Hudson Bay Reward, and then we will choose to put it into the test. And then we can go to the next page, and we are able to choose the amount of points we will want to transfer. So let's say we would transfer 35 points to our test reward. Then we hit save points and then submit transfer. And then when we go back, we have now 46 points in our test, and we only have 15 now in the Hudson Bay. We do this by having a conversion factor. So each one has a conversion factor. So for example, Hudson Bay has a conversion factor of 4, which translates it into a universal point. And then from there, we can convert it back into a different point using the conversion factor. Also, you can convert back from any point. So you can do like TD to Hudson Bay, and then we can do all the TD points into Hudson Bay, and then we can get rid of all the points if you have an excess amount in one program. And now we have no points in TD, but we have it all in the Hudson Bay. Now you can also go to the reward page and choosing on depending which reward program you have chosen. So PetroPoints, you can have a different rewards. For example, it's free gas for one time. And PC Optimum is a cash reward. And it depends on what you input up here. We'll give you a different reward. We're still trying to implement more rewards. So at the moment, we only have one, but future, there'll be more. Now I'm going to ask if there's any questions.
So many questions. Great presentation, gentlemen. What was the extensive research that you did?
Extensive research into the conversion rates, I assume?
Yeah, at the beginning you said you did some extensive research into the conversion rate. So what was that research?
So our main focus was, so we took about 6 loyalty programs. So TD, we had PC Optimum, and they have on their websites, they have a conversion of loyalty points into the Canadian dollar. So we took all the loyalty points, converted it to the Canadian dollar equivalent, and then we based our universal point based on the Canadian dollar conversion, so we can convert it from one point to another.
Okay. And so my second question is that particular aspect, you seem to be putting that cognitive load on the user to track and understand what that conversion factor is. Did you think about having some mechanism to maybe have a database somewhere where you guys do the conversion factor and it automatically populates to the user's application instead of putting that on the user?
So currently we have it so the user has to input it because we haven't finished like the design fully, but my hope would be that we could have like a system that would be able to track all the different conversion factors, but then you would just have to input the loyalty program name to add a new program, and there'll be like a database where there will be like the name and then with the conversion factor. So you would only have to you just need to input the name of it, and then everything else is like done behind the scenes kind of. Any other questions?
Sure. More on the value proposition side. Why would a big gorilla in the industry like Air Miles want to participate in this?
I would think a bigger business would want to participate in this because they could get a lot of information on the users and what they spend their actual rewards points on. So let's say if one loyalty points, all their points are getting converted to another, why would they really want to invest? Well, our idea is if they can provide good rewards and good incentive for the user to use their loyalty points, they'll have a competitive market, which will boost the whole ecosystem as a whole. So we want to get the bigger companies to more have a competitive market in order to have an expansive ecosystem of loyalty points in general.
But if I'm trading away my air miles to, let's say, an unknown loyalty program, like, I don't know, Cheap Miles,
Yeah.
and so I'm taking 1,000 air miles and I'm funneling it into Cheap Miles. Air Miles would only know that I made that transaction. They wouldn't know what I spent it on. Correct?
Yeah, but they understand that they're not using their points for their rewards. So they would want to either somehow give the user incentive to keep using their points. So they would keep buying from air miles.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thanks.
No problem. Any other questions? Or...
No, I was going to ask a question, but Sean beat me to it. So thanks.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, Chetty.
No, hey, no worries. It's in trouble.
So I'm going to ask the same question that Dom asked the earlier team. What was the hardest thing about coming up with this solution? Where did you guys struggle?
So we designed it using Power Apps, and none of the members of our group knew how to use Power Apps. So just figuring out how to use Power Apps was the hardest part, probably. And then, like, I designed most of the prototype and the final design using Power Apps, and I found that some aspects, like the transfer of points, was a bit harder than other parts.
Gotcha. Yeah, sounds like the next design day might have Power Apps as a client. How to make Power Apps more usable. Thank you, guys. Great job.
So thank you, team A7. So next team is A16. Could you be ready with your presentation?
Yep. All right. Are we good to go? I think so. Loyalty programs offered by financial institutions and other businesses are fairly limited in how consumers can spend their accumulated points. So we've used these limitations as an opportunity to create a system embedded in a Wix website, which will integrate with other loyalty programs so that users don't have to worry about these limitations. We've been working on creating a points conversion system embedded in our website that will allow users to convert their points from other loyalty programs to ours and vice versa, allowing for a fully integrated ecosystem between loyalty programs. This integration between loyalty programs is an incentive for the participants because it will integrate reward systems that have previously been inaccessible at a cross-platform level, giving users more ways to spend their points without having to worry about which program their points are stored with.
Okay, now I'm just going to talk about some of the features from our program that we are proud of and that we think, in our opinion, make us stand out a little bit. Now, for one, we have an affiliate link program, and one goal for us was to find a way to increase the amount of users in our program. So our affiliate link program gives established users a chance to share the experience with new or soon-to-be users, while also giving the user an incentive to share the experience with others in the form of extra points in their balance. Speaking of points, now we have also our tier upgrade program, which we have implemented. So depending on the user participation, towards the ecosystem, they can freely decide if the tier upgrade program will benefit their savings. And this gives more of an opportunity to gain even more points per dollar than the base tier, more personalized offers and coupons to the user, as well as an increased amount of points for sharing the affiliate link that I mentioned earlier. And finally, I think the way our layout for our UI is somewhat we're very proud of, and it was our focus, maybe a little bit different from other programs, but it was definitely a main focus of ours from day one. And I will actually go and show you a quick demonstration of our product right now. Now you come up to our login page, and here I am just signing up using just a random email here. And this is a form site called Airtable. And Airtable is a Excel-like program that allows you to create forms and also embed the form into websites such as Wix. And this also does work with Facebook or Google, so that's good. Now here, this is our points conversion screen. As you can see, I'm just converting some points. It should be showing up there, but we haven't had time. Now, coming up here, these are just some mock-up rewards that we were thinking of adding. We also have that one in the middle for maybe smaller businesses, such as like a florist. Here, this is our tier upgrades. And it just, for a monthly fee, you can purchase or you can gain extra points and other perks. This is also how that you would proceed with upgrading your tier. And this is just all your account information. And this is also the mock-up for where the affiliate link box would go. Oh. Now, and then this is kind of what the back end would look for us currently. And it's basically, as I said, pretty simple, very Excel spreadsheet-like. And then it allows us to embed our code into, or the code that it produces in it, into our Wix website. That's all from us. We'll open up the floor to some questions if you guys have any.
Why did you go with Wix and Airtable?
Okay, so for one, we thought that Power Apps as from a UI standpoint was pretty difficult to where we wanted to get it. Like we just weren't happy. Our original prototype was actually supposed to be using Power Apps, but all of us agreed we just didn't like the look of it and we couldn't get it to work. And then Airtable, it was actually a suggestion from one of our our project manager, and he said that some previous groups used it for a project, or that's why we decided to go with that.
Have you? Sorry, Dominic, are you done?
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
Yeah. So have you guys ran anything by like a focus group, or have you run any surveys so far to get the voice of customer into your design?
Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that, just with time limitations, especially trying to get Airtable to work and all that within the website.
Our main source of feedback through the project has mainly been like other classmates and our PM. We dealt with our PM quite a bit just for general advice and guidance on the project.
Yeah. Guys, got any questions?
Yeah, so congrats on making the shift from Power App.
Yeah, thank you.
What you may not have done formal research for this, but what made you think people would pay for an upgrade to a higher tier?
Because what we were thinking when we were coming up with this idea is basically unfortunately when you have to when you want to offer the customer more points and more stuff, like that just can't come out of the business's wallet. So we had to enforce a monthly fee on that.
But the tier system is optional too. Like the base tier is not paid, but if you choose to pay for the subscription to the tier program, then it would basically give you the incentive by offering a better points per dollar rate, as well as offering you more potential rewards options.
Yeah, so premium gas kind of thing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
So thanks, team A16. So next is A1. So team A1, could you start your presentation? Yes.
Yep. Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. So welcome everyone and welcome to Point Marketplace. So first we'll introduce the team. We consist of Nina, Dane, Fidel, Mason, and May.
So Zafin presented us a problem, and that problem was the democratization of loyalty points.
So we'll start with the things we realized. Points don't magically disappear, no direct switching the points. It goes against many terms and service rules. And you can't just force one company to accept another company's points. Walmart doesn't want to trade for PC Optimum points. We should have a platform that is safe and secure no matter the amount of users. Therefore, crypto is a no-go. People love freedom and liberty, so we went with a marketplace. So what was our solution? The free market.
So what can our program do for you? So let's say you earn some points from your Air Miles card, and you would rather spend those points at your favorite local restaurant. You can sell the points you don't want and buy the points you need. With our program, you can list your unwanted points on the open market, or you can sell them to a bank. Then you can buy the points you need from the marketplace. This is cool and all, but how does it work?
So we use the Vue.js 3 framework to build the website out, combined with Firebase authentication and Firestore. We had a functional front and back end. The login page is the landing page if you're not logged in, which is what you're seeing now. And if you do not have an account, then you can create one on the sign up page. And then this is the Firebase backend. So on the left is the user authentication, and on the right is the Cloud Firestore, which communicates through the UID there on there. So every specific user would have a specific UID to know exactly what data to pinpoint, and then provide the specific data to the web application. And then this is how points are saved within the database. So once a reward system account is connected to the Point Marketplace account, a reference ID is made to connect their accounts upon trades. And then this is a customizable profile page, which allows for any specific information to be displayed. You can also switch information if needed. And then this is the wallet page, which just displays like your points once you have connected them to the marketplace. And then this is the buy and sell page where you can buy or trade points from a bank or from a marketplace, as well as sell. Thank you. Any questions?
As Dom would say, lots of questions. Good presentation, team. The open marketplace or the free marketplace, that it's an interesting one, and I'm wondering if you presented the sell side of selling, but did you think about the demand side as well, where you know, I want instead of I want to go to this restaurant, so I'm selling some points to go to the restaurant. You know, kind of the other side of the coin, where there's somebody demanding points of a specific type and willing to pay a premium for them.
So I'll take the lead on that question. And so the one thing is our target audience for who's going to be like using this program is going to be banks mostly, right? And so this really depends on the banks going to different loyalty systems and purchasing up points, because or buying points from users and just creating like a stockpile of points. And so eventually what will happen is, if you noticed in our sorry, let me just pull it up, the bank sell, the bank will always profit whenever they buy, like whenever they buy and sell points, they're always making a profit. And so that's why banks would be enticed to use this.
When you say banks, are you talking about traditional banks, or is this a class of someone that would be transacting in these points?
So
yeah, I can go on that one. So technically speaking, like any person could like become their own bank of points per se. But given that Zafin was, already had all these partnerships with like, TD and all these other bank accounts, we just kind of use that as the thing. But it's more like an account that can accept like a large amount of points upon a request and use like analyzed data through the marketplace to then sell them, as to bulk or other third parties.
And another question, how do you know that users love marketplaces? Your first slide.
So I'll take lead on that. The one thing that we noticed, especially with the pandemic, is the emergence of people getting invested in stocks and people getting invested in cryptocurrency. And so I feel like if we could, people can build their revenue and like build their how much like sorry, I can't think of the word right now. Their assets. Yeah. If people like, it's just another opportunity for people to build up assets and be able to like use these for like maybe more leisurable things, because like realistically, you're not going to be buying a house with PC Optimum points from trading PC Optimum points with our program, but it'll, like if let's say somehow you get 15 PC Optimum points and you never use your PC Optimum points and you'd rather go watch a movie, well, the thing with our program is it'll be more enticing to sell the points you don't want, so that way at least you're making money off of that versus instead just letting those points sit there and deteriorate.
And just to add to that, it also like gamifies points, right? Because we have the market, so like it would, points could go up. Let's say if Air Miles was doing like a big reward release or something like that. So like you could like predict those things and then gamify the whole system. So you could actually like learn how to like evaluate a market and then like use that data or use your insights to like trade points, and then you could apply that after some practice on the actual market instead.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, same as I asked the teams. Have you guys had any chance to assess this through some users get the voice of user into it?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I kind of missed it.
Sure. Have you had a chance to assess this or run it by some users through a focus group or a survey of some sort?
Yeah, so we also like ran it through some classmates as well, including our PM as well and TAs. But we also had other people in our networks look at it as well, and that came like the profile page was kind of because of that. So they kind of realized like, hey, like you guys are already connecting to this database of points. Why don't you like give some offers and other stuff like that? So that came from their inputs, and then the wallet as well came from Zafin due to the fact their interest in other groups' wallets. So we implemented that into ours as well.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks team A1. So the next team is A13.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect, yeah. We'll get started in just a minute.
Hello, can you hear me? All good? Okay, so hello everyone. Today we're going to be presenting our innovative points reward system called STARS. So this is the rest of group 13, and we appreciate you listening to our presentation, honestly. Okay, to begin, we were tasked with creating a platform that expanded upon the current loyalty rewards point system. This was to be done with a more horizontal approach in the sense that we are trying to get as many businesses as possible participating, as well as being able to use our points anywhere. By emphasizing the ability to convert our points from business to business, as well as providing businesses real opportunities to market themselves, we created a solution to this problem. In terms of a product, what people are looking for is an easy-to-use point system, not only in terms of efficiency, but security, as well as accessibility. In addition, the system must be appealing, both visually and financially. This is to attract as many customers as possible and to maximize engagement with the system. Finally, the point system must be able to be trusted, not only by users, but by the banks, stores, etc. Otherwise, we would not have a meaningful amount of users, therefore restricting our total business opportunities. Stay on that slide. For our system prototype, we decided that one of our main focuses was to help small businesses succeed. We really wanted to make a difference not only in our community, but communities all over the country. Can you move forward a bit, please? We achieve this by allowing small businesses to have a greater range of customization for the way points can be used in said smaller stores. We also emphasize the ability to have plenty of options for multiple types of points to be used. These measures were implemented to ensure that we can attract as much business as possible, leading to a greater chance of success for our points program. As you can see, this is what I just talked about. So next slide. So finally, I will hand the presentation over to Hazem, where he will explain and preview our prototype of the points reward system by showing not only the intricacies of the application, but also giving a tour of the website. So Hazem, over to you.
Okay, so let me just switch over to my Power Apps screen. Can you guys see that? So over here, we have the main page of the app. We have the profile section where you can just enter your user data, just so we have that stored and we know who you are, so we can maybe do a little like statistics on who's doing what on the app. We have the convert section. So you can choose from two businesses, for example, Stars Mart and Stars Bakery, which are two businesses that we made up. So let's say I want to convert 300 points. That's going to become 339 points in Stars Bakery, and it's just as easy as that. Right over here, we have also the reward section where business can put up what rewards and what offers they have currently on top of the rewards points. If we go over to the partners section for the businesses that are actually doing it, not the users, this is for the business section. See the business profile where you enter your business's data, and based off of your yearly income, we have a little algorithm set up that calculates your estimated point rate. This is not 100% accurate because we still have other data we want to go through, but this is what we would start it off of. This is what we would estimate it off of. That's it for the UI, and we'll be now taking any questions.
So the conversion, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, sorry, Tom, go ahead.
So how are you guys calculating the conversion?
So the way that we did it is we looked at the actual dollar value of points. So if you look at PC Optimum, when you earn 10,000 points, you get to spend 10 free dollars. Whereas for Scotiabank, I believe it's 5,000 points, gives you about $50. And so based on those rates, we came up with a conversion factor. So we'd have a conversion factor from business A to business B to business A for any business that's actually being included. Okay. And that's kind of how we went about calculating that.
Mm-hmm. So I'd assume that's hard coded now. In the future, would that be sort of a live thing as those might fluctuate, or do they fluctuate?
Yes, so as more businesses actually do join, we would have to add the conversion rate. So that is kind of the downside, but it does allow us to, I believe, like stay more accurate in the actual value of the points rather than having something that's more generalized. So it is a little bit more work on our end and maybe on the bank's end, but in the end, we believe that it will be a better outcome for the actual clients and users.
Okay. Thank you.
So a comment and then a question. On your conversion screen, I think it's always important to remember that it's crucial to have an acceptance, not just a conversion, right? You know, I could be playing around with looking at different conversion rates and where my bucks could go farthest. But when I convert, I should accept a conversion.
Yeah, I just didn't get to that point when I was making the app. I was having issues with using Power Apps because it's my first time. So I didn't want to keep adding more stuff before design day and not be able to explain it properly.
No, all good. I
that.
understand the power, the challenge of Power Apps. In your presentation, you talked a lot about focusing on the small business. So tell me how yours is different in the way that it focuses on the small business and gets them on board.
So in the initial client meeting, that was something that Zafin had really stressed, was including those smaller businesses. And right now there's not really something, that can do that on the scale. So we looked at other sort of platforms that do offer loyalty points to smaller businesses. And we saw that what they do to like entice the smaller businesses and actually include them is by offering a different pricing plan based on the number of clients that they would have joining. And so that's what we've decided to do. And then once they do join, based on the yearly income, like Hazem mentioned, as well as just the kind of business that they are, we're going to be offering them a value and suggested rewards. So if, it's like a hair salon, the frequency of customers visiting it isn't very high. You don't get a haircut every week. So the rewards we suggest are going to be based on something that can, that the clients can achieve in a reasonable amount of time, that they don't need to get 5 haircuts over the course of a couple of years. Whereas if it was a coffee shop where people do visit a coffee shop, 3, 4, 5 times a week, maybe, those rewards are maybe going to require more points because they are going a lot more frequently. So that was kind of how we were hoping to entice those smaller businesses.
Gotcha. Thanks. I would have loved to see it. But time is time, right?
Yes, in our Maker repo, we actually included actual like numbers and suggested rewards. So if you want to go look at our Maker repo, I believe it's going to be deliverable H. You should be able to see a table with the different kinds of businesses, the average visit cost, the visitation frequency, and then the suggested rewards based on that information.
Oh,
so that should be deliverable H.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I have to drop right now for another meeting that I'm coming up on, but thank you for this. Just a quick comment, guys, you've done a great job in presenting this. One thing I would suggest you do is, and it seems that through what Annabelle said, it seems that you have a lot of good knowledge and thought put into the business model. I would say when you talk about the solution, just show maybe a diagram of that, because there's a lot of good things that you said that were not shown visually, and people like visuals. It just sticks better in their heads.
Thank you for the suggestion. We'll definitely next time do that.
Okay. And nice to meet everyone. I'll be leaving now. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. So we have the last team, the team A5. So team A5, go ahead.
All right, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Share your screen.
Yeah, doing that right now.
Okay, hello, we are group 5, and this is our unified point system for the needs identification. We found these 3 needs were important when we were creating our project. It needs to be business-to-business platform, a frictionless consumer experience to show how customers use their loyalty points, and easily accessible for small businesses as well as much larger businesses. The problem analysis. Current loyalty programs tend to exist only with big corporations, and with Zafin, they want to partner with smaller corporations as well to be able to democratize points to them as well. This is our user feedback based on our final prototype. So we showed this to 5 different users, all from varying age groups from 16 to 81, and they ranked it on ease of use, design, and functionality from 1 to 3, 1 being the lowest and 3 being the highest. As you can see, with majority of the users, they scored very high, except the one user that was 81, he scored it only a 1 for ease of use, but everyone else liked it. And the most important statistic of this is that every single user was very interested in our product after we showed them it and wished that they had this in real life, even the older user as well. Now, this is our demo that Kevin Levine will show us.
Hello, so this is our unified point system on Power Apps. Here we have the home page, which houses the total points and some popular deals. We wanted the total points to be the focal point of the main page so that the user is always able to access the total points. We also implemented a menu bar, which will show the different options. Here we have the withdraw points page, which will simulate how a user using points to pay for something. So we can add some amount. Due to software limitations, it takes a while for the total points to update once someone withdraws something. In the meantime, we also have the add points, which would simulate someone purchasing something in the real world and points being added to their account from this purchase. Now, because this takes a little while, we do have the exchange history tab, and we can see that we have withdrawn this amount. We have added this amount as well. So we are able to access different histories from what we've added and what we've withdrawn. This is the add points from other systems. This is the most fundamental idea of our design. What this would do is it demonstrates the conversion of points from other systems to our point system, which would unite all other points programs to a defined points value. Because all points are associated to a certain value proportional to the Canadian dollar, other small businesses can be a part of the system and have their loyalty points be recognized alongside larger businesses. Because this software runs on Power Apps, if someone were to download Power Apps, then they would have access to this software as well on their phone. This is the page where you can convert points from RBC or PC. We chose to use RBC and PC points because they have other systems have points values that are very similar to the Canadian dollar. So RBC and PC will be stand-ins for other points values as well. So we can go through the conversion history to see that we added 2000 RBC points, which is equivalent to 22.8 unified points. So we can go back to the point main page and we'll see that the addition and the withdrawal of points they've gone through and the total points have been changed. As I said, it takes time for total points values to change, but we can see from the conversion history from the add points and other systems that it is still here.
Okay, so that was our final product. As you can see, we created an actual working conversion system that can show different deals that everyone can use, and it combines all the different point systems. And it's also very easy for multiple different companies, small and large, to add their own point systems as well, because it's made on with the Canadian dollar. You guys have any questions?
Tell me a little bit about this user research that you did. So was that a 3-point scale that you were asking people?
Yeah, from 1 to 3.
1 to 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose a 3-point scale?
I mean, I guess I could have gone higher, but I just decided 1 to 3 for simplicity.
In our course, throughout the course, we created selection matrices to rate different ideas from a scale of 1 to 3. And it was how we narrowed down our ideas for what to include in our prototypes and our final product. And so we used the same value system of 1 to 3 for the user reviews so that they would be consistent values.
Okay, makes sense. I like the fact that you actually went out and talked to users and measured their feedback with the concept. Now, based on that feedback, did you incorporate any of that feedback into iterations of the prototype as you were building it?
So in the prototype, we have that there's the withdrawal and the added points, and we decided to reorganize the way that the menu page was structured so that it would be easier for users to understand what each part would do. And we tried to incorporate it to make it as simple as possible.
Mhm. And last question before I hand over to Sean, what's the camera icon do?
So we weren't able to implement it into Power Apps, but given more time and resources, we would have tried to have developed it where it would be able to scan certain products. So you'd be able to use this as an app on your phone to pay for things by scanning them, similar to how other apps like PayPal or Apple Pay use your phone to pay for things. You'd be able to pay for things with points through the app.
Cool. Thank you.
You're sounding like an 81-year-old man, Dom.
Except I like it. I would have given it a 3.
Good presentation, team. A quick question. Talk about the barcode.
Okay, so that was there to simulate like when we withdraw points, it was used to simulate you're actually like scanning it at like a cash register and stuff like that. But since we don't have an actual barcode scanner on hand, we had to use the withdrawal points, and that's just a placeholder to show what it could be if we had all the resources available.
Okay. You mentioned Zafin points. Can you talk more about Zafin points?
That is what we were going to call the United Points value, because all the points would be related to this one value, and Zafin was the client that approached us for this product. We named the points value after them.
Very good. And I guess my last question is probably one that we should have asked to all of the teams. If it comes time to build this for real now, it doesn't sound like you'd be leaning to Power Apps to build this. How would you build this?
So because we aren't, our team members weren't the most software savvy to start, we stuck to Power Apps because we learned how to use it throughout the semester in this course. But given more knowledge in being able to use other languages and other software, we would learn how to make this in other softwares that would be much easier to use and much nicer, much simpler, and they would be able to implement the features that we want to use.
Yeah, good job, guys. That's a lot of work.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So thank you all. So we have come to the end of the presentation.